Hello, good evening and welcome. Welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Oxshare, on the show this evening. It's Juicy Bear and a big Juicy Bear, Big Stevie. How we doing, gentlemen?
How we doing, Oxshare? How we doing, Juicy Boy?
Good evening, guys. Thanks for having me as always.
Yeah, good to hear from you, Juicy. How are you, big chap, Stevie?
Brand new, mate. Brand new. I'm still a bit tender for Liverpool, right enough, but I'm getting there, yes. Back in the solids.
Good, mate. Line of the week, Stevie. Line of the week. Skipper. Yes?
Skipper?
Aye, Skipper. You know Skipper?
Aye.
Skipper, I said to him, how you doing? I've not spoke to him for a while. Everything all right, blah, 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 usual. I said, I'm missing you. He said, the last person to miss me was Lee Harvey Oswald. Do you know what happened there? Oh, what a line. What a line.
Oh,
anyway, how are you, Juicy?
Yes, really good. Getting pumped up as the mirror and the hype starts now, guys.
Well, you were going to say something else. I was a bit worried there, Stevie.
Aye.
Right, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to let you two gentlemen get it off your chest and then we'll move on, yes?
Right, okay. You want to go first, Juicy Boy?
Well, I want to talk about a few positives from the game on Tuesday night. I know that the overall performance wasn't great, but Ben Davies and Connor Goldson and also the young boy Leon King, I thought was a really good centre-back trio. And I can see a partnership starting to form there already, particularly with Ben Davies, now that he's in there. And Goldson had a good game. And I know we didn't get a lot of the ball. I know our midfield was really, really poor. But from a defensive standpoint, we stood up to what was a serious challenge. I know McGregor was really busy as well, so he had to deal with a lot. But there were some things there that I noticed that I think we can take forward. And we're not going to play many teams like Liverpool in the season. And from an SPFL standpoint, it's really important that Ben Davies, being a left-sided centre-back, gets to full fitness now. And, I would say, Stevie, Fox Joe, he's probably just about there. So I think that's a big positive that they were competent. And I know that the young boy gave away the pen. But aside from that, I thought King was pretty assured as well through the match. And to restrict them to just the 2 set-piece goals, it wasn't a bad effort from our centre-backs.
I can't disagree with any of that. The positives there, Stevie.
No, I'm with Juicy 100%. I'm just going to say this about Tuesday. We started playing a wee bit better. I'm not going to get into the set-up and all the negative stuff. But let's just say the last 15 minutes of that game, we started to push a wee bit. We're starting to get there. Now, I want these Rangers players to think about that last wee 15 and say, we'll take that into the game on Tuesday night against Liverpool. And I hope we just go all out and go for it. It's a nothing game for us. Just go all out and let's see what we can do. I've got to give these guys here on a positive side again. The Union Bears put on a fantastic display again. All the boys behaved themselves. They done what they do. The Ultras do. They get through the tune. They done it with a bit of pride. They laid reefs and everything else at the 96 Monument. Glasgow Rangers done the same as well. And I've got to hand it to the Rangers support in the whole. I think there must have been about 20,000 Bears down there. It was absolutely fantastic. And they're a total and utter credit to that team. And I just hope up all hopes that we can take the last 15 minutes to that game, the positives, when Matondo and that get in behind the the defenders, and that. It showed you when we went for it and we had a wee bit of confidence about us. We were getting a bit of change out of them. I know it was the end of the game, but for me, you know, you could be here all night talking negative all the time, and I'm not doing it. I'm definitely not doing it. Nobody, no, a lot of teams go to Anfield and beat Liverpool. And I know I don't want to sound a bit of a defeatist. I'm just trying to be realistic. You know, the squad that they've put together is worth X amount. And it's just a different level when you get into the Champions League. And I hope we're learning as we go. But believe me, the Rangers done all right. 2-0 was the embarrassment. A great free kick that nobody would have got to. Let's be honest, it was pinpoint. It was some free kick with a boy Trent and a penalty kick. As just to say, the young boy's he's just kind of getting his road basically, and he's been doing very easy. He's got the penalty kick and Salah stuck it away. The bottom line for me, we just pick it up and we learn from it, and we take it into Tuesday night, the last 15 minutes.
I want to put it in context, just saying, and I know it's not an excuse because I thought we didn't play well at all. No, the selection wasn't quite right. We can argue about that all day, but in context, 10 years ago today we lost to Stirling Albion. Yeah, 10 years ago today.
We've come so far in that time, and you know, are we further forward than some of us possibly thought? Maybe. You know, I know some fans, well, all of us, would have loved it if we could have got a few more domestic trophies in the cabinet, and then you've got to look at that perspective that you've just said there, Ox, and that's really important because just remember the players that we had when we were losing to such teams in the bottom tiers. You know, it was night and day to what we've had for the last couple of years. And I know we want everything now. We want to be in the quarterfinals of the Champions League and then the semi-finals and then to win it. And you know, those opportunities will come, but it comes through repeated appearances and improving. You know, everyone keeps saying, "Oh, Club Brugge have done so well. They don't have much cash either." Club Brugge have been appearing in this tournament for a number of seasons now as well. So it's, you know, every team that are in it, it's that slow improvement. And sometimes getting a good draw helps as well. Teams that you have maybe a slightly better chance of beating. You know, you look at Victoria Pleasant, a group that we very nearly ended up in as well, with Inter, Bayern and Barca. You know, it's really hard if you get those kind of draws. We thought maybe we could take something from Napoli and Ajax. I think everyone in the group, you know, looked at Napoli as a top 3 team, and they've been the dark horses. They are destroying everyone, and they are top of Serie A as well. You know, they could be on for 18 points in this group, and I'm not sure if anyone can stop them, Ox. So these are the things you've got to look at.
All right, Steve, it was very interesting me. How did the holiday go?
Absolutely fantastic. Just back for the Canary Islands, and I never seen one canary. So I booked me and Fox up. We're definitely going to the Virgin Islands next year, and hopefully we don't see it anyway.
It's been a long time since Fox seen one of them, mate.
They don't call him the Fox for nothing now. I always remember that. What a man.
Yeah. Right, okay. Right. There's been a lot of criticism of individuals, and some of it is justified, but I think you've always got to put it in context. Yeah, I think critiquing a performance is fair, yeah? You can critique a performance and you might think either good game, bad game, or whatever, Stevie, yeah? But some of the personal stuff is OTT, yeah?
Aye. Listen, look, I stand in the terraces. I go whenever I try and get tickets for home and away. You know that, you know. And some of the stuff you hear about guys like, I mean, Ryan Kent hasn't, in my eyes, he's not performing the way we know he can perform. But we get that. We get it. But some of the stuff you're hearing is he doesn't want to be at the club anymore. Get him out, and they take it to fault. Look, there's a thin line between borderline people make themselves look silly, and it's starting with Ryan Kent, by the way. It's really starting with Ryan Kent. Look, I don't know, me personally, I'm not a manager. I don't see what goes on in training every day. But I wonder how Ryan Kent has been even subbed in some of the games. And then something you put somebody in his position, and then you realise what you've been missing. Just the wee things that he does. I mean, he didn't particularly play great against Hearts there, but he got an assist and a goal. Now, if that's you not playing great, I would take that every week. Do you know what I mean? It's just you're totally right. It's some of the stuff's so TT, and some of it you couldn't even mention on the radio, And I just question. Look, I don't like talking about any of the Bears, but some of them have got to be a wee bit more realistic when they're talking about players, But that's just my opinion.
People are entitled to their opinion, but within the context has got to be right. Especially if you're putting it in the public arena. Private, you can say what you like, just say, yeah.
Yeah, and players go on and off forms, but we should never get personal about it, And I'd be more than happy with Brian Kent got a goal and an assist every week, Stevie. I think he's had a poor season generally, and okay, last weekend he did do well, but that I admit that was the first time for a while. But if he can bring something like that to the domestic form, and that's what it's all about. We can't get too carried away with 6 group games in the Champions League and define our entire season on that. As a few of the guys on here say, the Champions League is a little bit of extra gravy for us. Yes, we want to qualify. We'd love to qualify, but we've got to appreciate what we're up against. We've got to judge these guys on how we do in the domestic season in the main. Yeah, we didn't have a great performance on Tuesday. It's gone now. Time to move on to St Mirren. We know St Mirren will, try and bring their best game. Don't think they've had a match in midweek. They'll be up for it. We've got to bring our best game to take care of them, and I'm sure we can if we apply ourselves as we did against Hearts.
Well said, Juicy boy. Well said, Juicy. Right, we'll get these lines open. If that's all right with you too.
That's our plan, mate. Get the bells in and let's see what kind of stick they've got for us tonight.
Yeah. Need a big stick for you, boy. Let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show. It's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Oxter?
Yes, mate.
I'll say it to you one more time. Never bring a knife to a gunfight. It need to be a big stick.
A cudgel.
A cudgel, yes. Very Belfast, yes.
Right, okay. Right, if we're taking the parts of our team and we're looking at I was speaking to a well-known Southside correspondent today, and we've been chatting a bit later, and we recognise all the players we've got. I mean, we've got some good players in our midfield, but there's a common denominator. I'll go to Stevie first and then Juicy. We lack pace in there to get about the pitch. Stephen Davis, John Lundstrom, Ryan Jack, even Glenn Kamara, the boy Tillman, if he plays in there. Even Tom Lawrence isn't particularly rapid. So it's a problem we've got. So it's something that needs to be addressed. And I think that became apparent when we moved up a level, if that's fair. I'm not saying, look, Lundstrom's had a purple patch with our team, mate. For Christmas to the end of the season. It's maybe not been great this season. If you take Stephen Davis, what a football player. Ryan Jack gives you everything and has been a good signing for us. Scotty Arfield, obviously at the twilight of his career, very intelligent, maybe not the greatest sometimes on the ball. They've all got assets to their game, but they all lack pace, if that's fair. Stevie, then Juicy.
You're totally right, Ox. And listen, I've got to give 10 out of 10 to our correspondent for the South Side, because that man told us this last season about the midfield. and it's only, in my eyes, it's only deteriorated a bit since he opened my eyes to it. And I've got to give him 10 out of 10 ups. He's totally right. There's absolutely no pace in that midfield. Stevie Davis, what a reader of the game. It just no get pace. Big Lundstrom, you know what you're going to get out of him. You're going to get 60, 70 minutes, a full tilt out of him, and then he'll fade. He's no pace. Kamara's got a bit of an engine in him, but can he do it for the full 90? Don't think he can. You're totally right. We need, I don't like comparing because I know where we came from, I know where we are, and I shouldn't even think down this line, but you need somebody like Stuart McCall, somebody with a total engine that goes the full game, runs about the park, reads the game well, he can tackle, he's no easy shoved off a ball, and when he gets the ball, he turns the game, he's off right away and we're away. And I just don't, I think we lack a bit of heart and a bit of pace. I really do. I'm sorry, but that's just how I'm feeling now. And I'm not downing any of the players that are there. They do a good enough.
They've all got assets. They've all got assets in their game, you know.
Yep. Aye, but you're totally right. And as I say, it's all Southside too. I mean, I go as far as back in the trip up at the castle at Dundee. Mentioned that, you know, and that's how far away that was. But no, you're totally right, Ox. And I don't think we mean anything bad with it. We're just trying to look into our team and what can we do to improve it. I think we need maybe a young boy, or even a seasoned pro, somebody quick.
It's got to be able to play as well. You wouldn't say you've seen Bolt, we've seen him, and you come Juicy.
It's not just the pace, I think, we're lacking in the midfield at the moment. It's the creativity as well. But that is, of course, down to what we've got out at the moment. Lawrence is out, Hadji is out long term, Lowry's been out and only just on his way back now. He's at least back into training now. But those are essentially the three number 10s, and they're all out. And, you know, I know they're not all the paciest of players, but what they are is the creative spark in that team. And, you know, you take them out, we're kind of relying on Arfield as being, you know, a creative player. And, you know, and he's decent. He does make the runs. You know, but he's aging a little bit as well. And he's not exactly ever been a pace demon. It's about his timing and, you know, how he reads the game, as with some of the other guys that you mentioned there. So, yeah, we do lack pace, but it's that creativity that I think we've been lacking in the middle in terms of actually making things happen for us.
I think that's a fair shout also, mate. Arfield's a very intelligent player. We've seen the best and the worst of Scotty just last Saturday. Stevie, his runs into the box and his movement and stealing, cheating in between people was superb. And his execution was... his runs was Barcelona and his execution was a dog and duck, yeah.
Aye. It should have had 2 goals at Tynecastle at least. The one he was through, he kind of tried to bend it and it went by the post. You know, he got the goal and it should never have been chopped off. It was a disgrace, that decision. But you're totally right. He does get himself in good positions, but he's another player where you're not getting a full 90 minutes out of him. You know what I mean? He's just exactly what we're talking about, Scotty Arfield. I like Scotty Arfield. I think the boy gives his all. You know, and as you said, we've seen the best and the worst. Tynecastle's a classic example of that, isn't it? You know, but I'm sure, you know, we've got these boys. I just don't know what it is. We're just lacking something this year. I don't know what it is. I just can't put my finger on it. But I don't know if it's confidence. I don't know if there's something going on behind the scenes. I don't know what it is. They're all the same players. They just don't become bad players overnight.
Yeah, maybe the 2 players that played for us regular in the back end of last season, Bassey and Aribo, but maybe worth 30% of your team, Juicy, and it's hard to replace that.
I think that's a really good point, Oxger. And with regards to Aribo in particular, some of us used to say that he didn't always turn up in the big matches and do a lot of things that were noticeable. But what he did do, he was someone who could hold the ball up. He could bring others in. And he brought a physicalness as well that I think we've been lacking since he's gone as well. And of course, you can certainly say that for Bassi as well in terms of that pace and also the physicality. But Rebo was a massive loss, and it's about how do we manage and deal with that? We've got Alfredo who can hold that ball up as well, but he's only just been coming back from injury as well. So a lot of this is down to the players that we've had available, and at our disposal, and the fact that we're asking certain players to just go again and go again, where otherwise, under the circumstances of having a full team, we'd have probably seen a lot more rotation going in and out of these 2 fixtures a week, which we've almost had since the start of the season. Other teams are now only experiencing that, and may I just say, starting to struggle as well. So, all is not lost here, guys. We've still got people coming back. We know that Lawrence is going to be post-World Cup now. Hadji will be possibly around that time or maybe January, but Lowry will be back sooner. There's things that we can look forward to and positives that we can hold on to. Cholak is playing like a monster at the moment. He's absolutely fantastic domestically. Scored an important goal for us in Europe as well. So there's things here that we can work with on the domestic front. And look, we might not get third in the group, but we've still got a chance. So we've still got to play for it. But if we don't, there's still plenty of matches to go domestically, and we're going to need this squad.
Yeah, the whole squad's no disappearing. That's for sure, Steve. Yeah.
No, Jesse's right there too. By the way, still a lot of football to get played here. We haven't been great. Let's be honest. We haven't been great. It's not been a good watch. Can we get any worse? Of course we can. We've got all these players on the mend coming back. We've not been great, so we're only going to get better. And as Jesse said there, other teams are starting to struggle now playing in the. They were playing the Wednesday. They're playing the Wednesday and the Sunday, so they're starting to struggle a wee bit now. They've got a tough away game here. I think they're playing on the Sunday against St Johnson. Saturday morning. Well, there you go. So that's not going to be an easy walk in the park for them as well. So listen, guys, we've got a lot of football. We've got to just look after us. And I'm going to tell you something right now. They've still got a Tynecastle, Ibrox and Livingston to go to, by the way, with that part. So, listen, this could turn around nicely for us, so it could. We just stick together, get behind the team and do what us Bears do. The players haven't been great. Just get behind them. Wrap your horn around them. Shout their names to the heavens, man, and get behind them. That's all we can do as Bears, and let's get this league won. I've got a sneaky feeling this is going to turn around quick. I've got a feeling it's going to go our way, lads, very, very shortly. They're going to crack. They're not as good as what they're making out.
Right, okay, all right. I love the positivity, Juicy. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're now playing 2 games a week like us, and that's when you see the measure of all of these clubs, Hearts as well, playing what is a tough schedule, especially as condensed as it is, and also after the World Cup as well, with how those fixtures have been chunked together. And we've got League Cup match, quarter-final, they've got a League Cup match as well. So every single week we're playing, and midweek it's a lot of games. There'll be mistakes made by teams, there'll be players that get injured, players that will get suspended, as is the case every season. We can't be despondent with there only being a 2-point gap. We still have to play each other 3 more times in the league, for goodness sake. It's a never-ending cycle of playing each other in the league so many times, Ox. There's going to be plenty of opportunities for us, but I just want to get some of these players back, and I know it's a bit of a long wait on a few of them. But my goodness, when they're back in our team, it's going to be like brand new players, especially Hadji.
Fox.
Yes, mate.
Right, I know you were not the biggest Hadji fan, right? But, we get that. Right? Have we missed him? Can I ask you?
I made a statement, I think, last year that I believe if Hadji would have been still in the squad, would have won the league.
Well, that's enough said then, isn't it?
Yeah, because he did chip in with goals plus assists, mate. There's no doubt in that, mate. His stats told you that. I just think when he went missing, he just went missing. if I was picking a team, Scott Wright or Hadji on the right-hand side of midfield, I've got to be honest, it'd be Hadji all day long, mate.
Aye, I'd be the same, 100%.
You know, no disrespect to Scott Wright, you know.
Aye. Scott Wright's another player that's got to show a bit more dig for me, a bit more fight. I'm not being bad to the boy, but
I think the ship might have sailed, Stevie. You know, he's had these chances. I mean, it's a funny game, football, isn't it? Just so you could appear on Saturday, you know, but I think the ship might have sailed. There's a level you get to, and you'll be a quiz question. You'll be a quiz question. People will struggle. See in 15 years' time when people are saying, "What was the Rangers starting 11 in the Europa League final?" It'll be Scott Wright. Everybody will forget.
Quite possibly. I mean, look, he's done bits and pieces for us, hasn't he, guys? And, you know, scored a fantastic...
Great goal in the Scottish Cup final. Great goal.
Fantastic breakaway goal in the Scottish Cup final. And he's done bits and pieces in other matches as well. You know, domestically, I think, is where he's perhaps more important for us to come on as that sort of substitute when, you know, we want to maybe stretch the team a little bit. We haven't utilised him much recently, have we? But in terms of pace, we've got other options now with Matondo and Sakala as well. And they looked hungry when they came on the other day, as well as Cholak as well. And as Stevie said at the top of the show, you know, we changed to a 4-3-3 in those last 15 minutes against Liverpool. And we did actually show a little bit more. And that's really pleasing. And that's, as Stevie said, that's what we can take into next week. I really want to see Sakala and Matondo start this weekend. I think Kent needs to be rested, give Matondo a chance on that left, and Sakala, let him play on his preferred position of right side.
No, I would put in the right. I'd put Morelos in the right and put Cholak in the middle. I would just go for it, man, honestly.
All right.
But
I mean, I was putting a case up last weekend to try and get Morelos and Cholak on the park at the same time, and I get it. And I would have started the Alfie on Tuesday all night long for the first 60 minutes, hopefully get the ball to the park, keep it away and see if the game was tight. I didn't think Alfie looked 100% fit. I know he was up against two big and fast defenders, who have got pedigree, but we know Alfie can play better, if I'm being honest, Juicy.
Well, look, it was a difficult shift, whoever was going to be up front, whether it was Cholak or Alfie on Tuesday, Ox. I think most of us wanted Alfie to start simply because we know of his ability to hold the ball up and, you know, try and bring others in. And, you know, that's a little bit harsh on Cholak because I think he's got a little bit better at doing that recently. But you'd probably more likely go tried and tested with someone who's used to that kind of stage. But it didn't really happen for him. Look, it wasn't the only one. So I'm not going to single out and have a go at any individual player, you know, from a negative standpoint. You know, our game plan was what really didn't work. And, you know, those guys in the Liverpool midfield, they move so quickly and close the ball down and hustle, you know, with quality all over it. It's difficult. So whoever it was, Ox, up front, it was always going to be a difficult shift.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
I just think, see, when I look back at the European run last year, any team came to Ibrox, we went for it. We went for it and we played brilliant and we got what we wanted. I just hope we go for it against Liverpool. I really do. I just hope we go for it all out. Just go ahead with them. Get right in about them. Get the crowd behind them. Let's get the place gone haywire, man. And just give them a fright. I mean, that crowd gets the teams. I don't care who you are. See, when the bells are ready for that, the four stands are going after their chump, man. That gets the players and it gets your team lifted. And I just hope we go for it. I really do. I just hope we're a better team. This defensive-minded stuff isn't for Glasgow Rangers. I know we've got to watch. I know you're in Europe, you're trying to keep the back door closed. But this is let's be honest, it's a nothing game to us doing Tuesday night. It's about getting a bit of pride back, and I would just be gone, mate. I would just get tore in. I really would. I'd get tore into them. Sorry, I'm repeating myself just because it frustrates me. I don't like to see my team being defensive. I didn't watch it in Europe last. I think we done it at Leipzig. We tried to be defensive, if I can remember right. But the other games we went for it, and it worked for us.
I just want to step back. Leipzig, Braga, Red Star, mate. Away, mate.
Away games. Right. At Ibrox, mate. At Ibrox. I've got Liverpool at Ibrox. Let's gear him off right, man. Because I'll tell you, my boy, he was in the Liverpool end and he says, it was La Morgue. He says, when they were ready to take their penalty, they were all sitting down. He said, that's Ibrox. We're all bouncing about, grabbing each other. Come on, Tav. We're all jumping about, man. Do you know what I mean? It's just a different world, completely. They maybe no cope with that atmosphere at Ibrox. I know they've been all over the world playing, I get that. But Ibrox is a different place, man, when we're all united and we're all together. Card display up, man. Give it a good blast of God Save the King, man. And when the whistle goes, let's get the flags up and get tore in that trumpet. Let's go for it, man. We're the Rangers.
Can we have the trumpet again, please? Talking about trumpets, we've been joined me all day, mate.
That's what you call a trumpet.
Perfect timing.
How you doing, Stevie boy? How you doing, Juicy? Good to hear you. Aye, we're not on the wee up and down now, but I mean, we're talking about what Stevie was saying about the criticism. I think that the biggest letdown was, and I'm one of them. I mentioned it about embarrassing. I wasn't meaning embarrassment for the way who we were playing. I was just embarrassed for a lot of the players and the effort they put into the game. That's what I was embarrassed about.
Was your frustration coming for the fact that you know that we can do better?
Exactly. And I mean, you couldn't get worse than that. I mean, we've been through it and we've cut it up and we've divided it up and we've thrown it out. We move on to Saturday, which is the main event. But I think when people are making their comments, that's one of the things that they're actually talking about, is the personal effort they were putting in. And we've named them and we've talked about them. We move on and I see who Jenny think Charlie McCann will come out on Saturday?
If it was me, with the personnel we've got in the moment, my midfield three on Saturday would be Ryan Jack, Charlie McCann, and Scotty Arfield.
I'll go with that.
We're playing St Mirren at home. Ryan did what he does. He started the last game okay, and he started the D90 game at Ibrox okay as well. But play him, get John ready for Wednesday, if you think he's going to be pivotal with that. Stephen Davis has played and gave us everything he had, but no, maybe there's a place for Glenn Cabana in there as well. But that would be my thinking, mate. Because you've got Scotty making the runs and make sure that the boy McCann can get in positions and make things happen, even though he never pulled the trigger against the D-United. Juicy?
Yeah, I'd go with that. I mean, McCann wasn't even in the squad last week, was he, guys, for the Hearts game? I don't see any reason why he couldn't be in the squad, for this match. At least maybe on the bench. He might want to just go again with a very similar team, because we have seen that before, haven't we? Did we not after the USG game? Did we not go with almost the same team in the following league match to go again and actually show that they can win after putting in a poor performance? I think McCann's got a massive future at this club and he needs to play more this season, as does Lowry when he's back, not least because of the fact that he's creative, as I said earlier. So I want these guys to be in, and I don't want them just to play League Cup games and the like. I want them featuring in matches where we're going to need them. And we play so many matches. We played a lot of matches last season. We're going to need these youngsters. I think McCann in the match against Dundee United he had some opportunities, and I know he fluffed a couple of shots.
Yeah,
but he kept going. He kept going, Ox, and his movement was good. No, I think there's a big future for him. We can't judge him on just that one game against Dundee United. It was a really big game for him.
Yeah.
So I want more opportunities for him, and maybe this is a good opportunity for him on Saturday. But maybe we just want to take the pressure off him a little bit. You don't always have to bring him into every home game.
And I think you were maybe a fan of his brother Terry, weren't you, Stevie?
I said I missed it.
Stevie, where are you?
I'm here. I'm just. I was like to ask Stevie something.
Aye, on you go, David.
Just what would you think the problem with Kent at the moment? Do you think, I heard you saying earlier that you hate your favourite listening to people saying he doesn't want to be there, he doesn't want to be there. But do you think...
David, I said a while back that he's not been the same player since Stevie Gerrard left.
Yeah, but do you think he's starting to work his ticket? He's not making a very good job of it, is he?
Oh, he's definitely not working his ticket playing like that. If you want to work your ticket, mate, you've got to be in form to get a shaft, didn't you? You've got to be. So he's definitely not working his ticket. Look, Ryan Kent, right, now, the way we've been playing lately, Bonner pushes up the park, Ryan Kent's hugging that touchline, right? He's not making any diagonal runs into the box for a ball to get played through. And Bonner was getting a bit of a hard time off of Berzano because he was getting so far up the park. Ryan Kent stuck to the touchline. He's not making any moves. He's looking about. He's got to either play it sideways or play it back away. And that's what happened to Bonner. Now, I don't know if Ryan Kent's been told to do what he's doing, but sometimes if you're a player, you've got to see, like he's told me to do this, but this isn't working. But I know if I make that run, I'm going to get that ball through there. So surely players have got it within themselves to say, right, I've got my tactics, I've been told what I have to do, but surely if you're halfway into a game and you've tried the tactics, you see they're not working, you've got to try something different. Yeah. And I don't get... Ryan Kent's, we all know the potential the boy's got, and that's why we're off frustrated with him. He's an absolute fantastic player. He ripped Dortmund apart.
All right, I'll cut across his last. We've been joined by Alex. Evening, Alex. How we doing, mate? All right there.
I'm okay, mate. Yeah, I'm fine.
All right. What's on your mind, mate? The floor's yours.
I thought it was a very poor showing last night. Where I know people thought it would be a hard game, but I mean, way too defensive. And I mean, when you think we went away to the likes of Dortmund last year and scored 4 goals, and they're a really good side, so it was very disappointing. And I think everybody knew we were in a really, really tough group, but it's not looking very good, is it?
No, I don't think we're disappointed in the score lines. I think we feel as if we're not doing ourselves justice. Juicy?
It's the style of play, which I think a lot of the guys, as Alex has suggested there, is what we're frustrated with, because we know, based on what almost the same group of players did last season, and I know we talk about the Dortmund match, that was probably the peak, wasn't it, in terms of the away performances. And actually, we didn't play so well in Braga or Leipzig, but we only lost 1-0, and that was the first leg of a 2-leg match. So tactically, paid off because we won well in both the home games. These are obviously one-off matches in a league format. So, there's a part of you that thinks, why don't we just go for it a bit more, as Stevie was saying earlier? And when we changed it to the 4-3-3, we did a little bit more in terms of getting it up there and making a bit of a difference. Is that sustainable for a whole match? I guess we'll find out on Tuesday. But you might end up losing either way. We played 5 at the back almost the whole match and still lost 2-0. And yes, it was by set plays. As I said, we was decent defensively, and the centre-backs did do well. But, we still lost the match. And could we have been a bit more creative and still lost the match and made it a better spectacle? possibly. And that is frustrating because we know these guys are capable. They've played together for long enough, Ox. Is that our manager's mindset a little bit? We know he's quite defensively minded. We know he's resistant to play two strikers in the same match. We know he likes to try and keep the zero. We've struggled sometimes when we've been 2-0 up in domestic matches when we should have gone for the third goal, and instead we found ourselves being pegged back. So
good shout, mate. Good shout. Thoughts on that, Alex?
Yeah, I think definitely we should have. You can't sit back the way we sat back against Liverpool because they've got too much quality up front, and eventually you're going to get punished. I'd rather lose a game having a go than
lose the
sit
game
back
having a
expecting
go.
to get beat and keep the score down.
Are you telling me, Alex, if you get the ball away from you, you're going up the other end, you've got more chance of scoring? Is it that simple?
Yeah, you've obviously if you get yourself up the park, you've got a far better chance in scoring than what you have if you're just sitting back.
Correct, and if you've got the ball at the other end, you've got less chance of conceding as well,
You've got less chance of them scoring as well if you're taking the game to them. But
it's a simple game, just like Big Stevie. It's simple, Stevie.
That's the half. The best form of defence is attack, isn't it? So the bottom line is go all out, get a goal, and then try and shut the back door.
Yeah. You just could. I mean, sitting back against them, eventually they're going to score. So I think most Rangers fans would probably think, if we're going to get beat, let's get beat by having a real go. And the fans will accept that.
I don't. David, you want to come in?
Yeah, it's a great point, that. But I think the problem we have is, I mean, you look at the monkey mob, that's the way they play, and it's gone all right for them. We can't play like that because
they've won one game in 5, mate.
Yeah, I'm not making that as a point. What I'm saying is we don't have the team at the moment that can play like that. We've not got the energy. We've not got the pace in the middle. I mean, I think it was Stevie said something about McCall. That's screaming out for a McCall. We've not got it. So you've got to play with what you've got. But you've got to go up and have a go. That's one lose or draw, as they say.
Aye. I think we're all saying that. Alex, what else on your mind? Anything else off your chest?
You what, mate?
Anything else you want to say?
I just think that when we play them next week, we've got to do the high press and go at them straight from the off and try and unsettle them. We can't set out next week defensively because we'll get beat again.
Are you saying
we played our best football in the Europa League last season? It was when we did the high press and went at teams. And it worked. So...
Yeah. Are you saying that we need a performance like we did against Leipzig at home?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Stevie?
100%. I'm with him. Listen, I'll be very disappointed if I go here on Tuesday night and we set up defensive at Ibrox. I want the team. Listen, the crowd's going to be a factor. If we can get that place rocking, that tune comes on, the Champions League tune, and then get right into it for the whistle going, and if Rangers stay the high press and get the energy going right away, we'll every chance of getting a goal early. And then think about it. Just try and, I don't mean, we've got the goal, right, let's sit back, because the guy's right. They've got that much quality, they'll open you up. But we just need to heed a wee bit. Go all out, get the goal, and then start to try and keep the ball. Start to get down. If it's even 15 minutes into the game, get down with cramp. Just use every trick in the book. Do you know what I mean? Let's get the goal, and then let's see what Gio's tactics are then. Let's see what he's going to do then. You know what I mean? Shuffle the pack then. But we want to go. I don't want Rangers very often to sit back and show them respect. And I want Rangers to get right in about them. There's only one way being beat a football team. You need to get in there. You need to get a bit of guile about you. I'm not saying break their legs, but let them know they're in a game. Oh, don't let them stroll out their penalty box with it and as if they're Fulham stars. Just get right into them, man.
Right, you calm down.
I'm jumping up for your Liverett, man. I'm punching the air here, Liverett, man. The tin hats are on, the whistles are blue, we're over the top.
I mean, look at Brighton and Saturday against Liverpool. They went straight at them, didn't they, from the off? And you wouldn't have expected them to score 3 goals at Anfield. But at the end of the day, they were 2-0 up before half-time. And it was through the high press and going at them. And it could have been more. But they ended up with a draw, like. But as the only way to go, I think, to go against... We've got nothing to lose this game. Because we need something from it. And we're not going to get something from it if we're defensive.
Nope.
No, okay. All right, interesting. It'll be interesting to see where we go. I think you've got to. I think you've got to start using. We've got to use our squad more, our players more, our substitutions. You've got 15 players you can use in every game, and you can make substitutes early, and you can make more substitutions.
You don't have to make the substitutions late. If it's not working, change it. You know, that's what good managers do, isn't it? Adapt.
It's a different game now, Davey, with the 5 substitutes. I know that's a lot for you to count, but it's still a different game.
No, I'm 100%, but I was really baffled why he waited to when he did to change it about, because it was obvious for 10, 15 minutes that formation was no even closely nigger. So that's when you've got to take Tillman off or whatever. You change it up a wee bit, but we never. And that's what I was saying. That's what I felt embarrassed about. Because Tillman just wasn't interested either. I mean, we've been through all this. But that's what we've got to change for the future. We've got to get that playing for the jersey back.
Aye. Now, a good manager will change things if it's not gone right. He won't wait until... If it's not gone right in the first half, he'll make changes. And that's why they're great managers.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's some of the things we have actually praised you about in his short time. Just said the fact that he's changed things about. It's not just the same formation all the time. Other times, that's the bit that's getting him criticism as well, isn't it?
Yeah. He changed it a little bit earlier on in his time. He was changing it quite regularly, wasn't he? And that was good to see. But recently, I don't know so much. I mean, Tillman, we spoke about Tillman after the game on Tuesday. He's already played him in that position several times and it's not worked. So why did he persist with some of these players in a position that's not working for him, you know? You could see that it wasn't working. Also, and this isn't so much Gio's fault, but Tillman's behaviour, he looked disinterested, but maybe that's down to the fact that he's being played out of position. So, the times he's played well for us, which feels like a while ago now, was when he was playing in that number 10 position. So, add him to the list of with the 3 injuries we've got, Lawrence, Hadji, Lowry. He's the 4th player who can play in that number 10 position, but who's actually fit, but we're not utilising him there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to give the boy the benefit of the doubt. Played out of position, young boy, had a bad game. I thought the game passed him by. But he's not the first young boy for that to happen to Stevie, is he? I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt.
No, but
that's fine.
Juicy's right, Ox. You're right what you said there, but Juicy's totally right. The boy's a number 10. It's not working for him out there on the right. Definitely.
Right.
It's 100%. And if we can see it, how's Gio not seeing it? He's not doing any justice.
I mean, I thought the game passed him by totally.
It was a waste of plays.
Yeah, but I'm not blaming him if that makes any sense, Alex.
Well, I think if you're playing players out of position, you're never going to get the best out of them. And if you want somebody quick and all that in the wing, play somebody that plays there regularly. You know, it's Matondo, he's got speed and all that. But if you're asking a guy to do something that is alien to him, you're as well playing with 10 men. Because you're never going to get the best out of the guy. And I don't understand why some managers, pick players and then expect them to play in a position that they don't play in. And then the player gets stick because he's not had a good game. Not his fault. It shouldn't be picked to play in that position if he doesn't play in it.
There's certain players can do that. You know, Joe Rebo would play anywhere across the front line.
Not everybody can.
No, everybody can. You're right. Yeah.
They're a classic Sands. A classic example, isn't it?
But look how we've looked more comfortable with just having a left-sided player there, mate. Yeah?
Yep, 100%. Can you remember when Gio first came in, we were all praising him because he was playing wingers and winger positions, playing forward and midfielders, the right and back, centre back. And we were praising him, and now it's just went 360. It's just went 360. Everybody's playing out of position. Don't get me wrong, some of it went to injuries. But, I mean, I would play the boys' Sands on Saturday against St Mirren on the right side of midfield. I would have Jack, Sands and Arfield for running into the box.
Yeah, you've got to play players, that are forward thinking as well, and it's just, I've been following Rangers since the early 60s. I mean, I'm 68 in a couple of weeks, and when you think of the forward line, the wingers we used to have, Henderson, Wilson, Johnston and all that, and they were natural wingers and it worked. But you wouldn't have asked somebody like Baxter to play in the left wing, would you? You know what I mean? Or the right wing. If you want to play somebody in the right wing, play somebody that's a natural, not somebody that's never played there. Because not all players can adapt.
It's turned into your holy grail. Do you see this right forward position? We don't seem to be able to get it nailed down, do we?
Oh, yeah.
You can just imagine what Jim Baxter would have said if he had been played out of position. He'd have probably refused to go out there. But you're absolutely right, Oxjo. I think I was talking to my dad about this, that I don't think that right wing position has looked good and consistent since Daniel Candeas left.
That's right.
He might not have been the greatest player in the world, but he linked really well with Tav, and they had a good relationship. He had a good partnership with Morelos. They were quite friendly as well. And after that, we've really been we were playing Hadji there a lot up until his injury. No, he's not. He's a number 10. So he probably made the best of it, I think, more than maybe anyone else. And then he got injured, and then we put Aribo there. It wasn't really his position either. So, we've got Sakala, who's a ready-made right wing, who we've barely ever played there. We've played him either through the middle or on the left. No, I apologise. He's left-sided, isn't he? Is he left or right? I forget.
I think he's left. Matondo's right, isn't he?
No, Matondo's left as well. He was both.
That's right. Yeah. Sakala should be given that opportunity, and we know Wright can play there as well. Although I think Sakala's got a little bit more to offer, guys. His goals to game ratio is decent, but we've misplaced him as well in terms of the positions. I remember, I think it was Braga away last season. We played him Sakala down the middle, and it didn't work at all. So you've got to play these guys in the position that they're comfortable in. I know times you've got to ask them to do a job.
Play in that position.
Yeah.
Aye. We signed them and then we try to change them.
That's right. Yeah. One of the best examples, Walter Smith signed Mikhailichenko, who was a left-sided midfielder, but he couldn't fit him into the midfield, and he played him in the left wing, and we never ever seen the best of that guy, which was a shame, because I remember seeing him playing in the 88 European Championships for Russia, and as a driving force in the midfield, he was brilliant. But sticking a guy like that in the left wing you're not going to get the best. And but too many managers are guilty of it, especially international managers.
Aye. Listen, it's about building a team, isn't it? Your best players don't make your best team, Stevie. It's like a pot of soup. You get the recipes, you've got to get them blended together, isn't it?
That's right, aye. I mean, if you buy somebody because he's playing really well in a certain position, you don't say, right, I'm not going to play you there, I'm going to play you somewhere else. And then the fans get on the guy's back because he's not used to playing there and he's not playing well. And it's the manager's fault. If you buy a guy to play in a certain position, play him in that position.
All right, Stevie?
Aye, you're totally right about the pot of soup. What kind of soup are we talking about, by the way?
Well, maybe lentil, maybe some ham through it, if that's all right with you.
A wee ham hock, aye. Magic. The big totties at the bottom. Absolutely fantastic. But listen, we've all got to be unified. We don't know what goes on in the dressing room. We're talking about everything's got to be right. Is the camaraderie the same in the dressing room since Aribo and the big man left? You know, is that togetherness? Has things changed a wee bit? You don't know, but we've got to, as fans, we'll never ever know what's goes on behind the door.
No.
We've just got to play our part. As you are talking about there, Gio sees these guys every day, and we can only surmise. He sees, I mean, you hear things, wee snippets like Matondo's not been on time for training for donkeys and all the rest, but it's all hearsay. You don't know if any of that's true. You know?
His backs are hardly trained.
It was a different game then.
He'd been at the casino the night before and that, and they'd do a couple of movements and that. He hated running, but you couldn't drop the guy because he was a genius on the pitch. His game wasn't about running, it was his passing, wasn't it?
Aye, but Oxy's right. It's a different game now. I mean, even McCoy's guy, the team that drank together, won together. That was
Walter Smith's motto, wasn't it? Yeah.
Aye, but it's changed now. It's everything's changed now. Everything's tactics. I mean, they even give teams praise for doing low blocks now. Come on. The were great at Ibrox today. They got a nothing each draw. And the way they set up, the low block was fantastic. They're killing the game, man. They're killing the game.
The Scottish teams are scoring a lot of goals in Europe, you know.
Too much.
Anyway, well, if you don't mind, lads, getting yourself on mute, because we're going to have a tune.
All right.
How many years ago, my boys, I left the Glasgow town. I followed the pull of the Yankee land and here have settled down. Although I'm in so Bridgeton Cross and my friends so near and dear, but I would give if I could have the Rangers over here. You can talk of California where the sun shines all the year. You can bomb about your Broadway light so clear. But it would fill my heart with sadness, it would fill my heart with cheer if we only had the Rangers over here. For they're the finest team in all the land, and I'm sure that you'll agree. To see them win is something grand, it's part of history. For the boys who fear no noise, my lads, and I mean that's quite sincere. What I would give if I could have the Rangers over here. You can buck up California where the sun shines all the year. You can bum about your Broadway life so clear. But it would fill my heart with gladness, it would fill my heart with cheer. And we only had the Rangers over here. And I'm sure that you'll agree To see them win is something grand, it's part of history. For the boys who've been our night, my lads, and I mean the quite sincere. What I would give if I could have the Rangers over here. Singing South of California where the sun shines all the year. Singing down my Bachelor Road where life's so clear. But it would fill my heart with sadness, it would fill my heart with cheer. And we only had the Rangers over here. And we only had the Rangers over here. And we only had the Rangers over here.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
All right, gentlemen. All right. Well, gentlemen and Big Stevie. Right. Would you change your team dramatically, Stevie, on Saturday? What's your thinking, mate? Now you've had time to calm down a bit.
No, I wouldn't change it dramatically, but in the midfield, I would play the boy Sands, give him a run out. And the right of midfield, that's what his natural position is, just what we're talking about. And I would probably go McGregor, Tav, Golson, Davies, Borner. And then in the midfield, I would play Jack, Sands, Arfield. I would play wee Alf on the right, and I would play Kolach in the middle, and I would play Kent on the left. And we'd go for it. And let the man know what hit them.
Bit of controversy there. What about getting the boy got a new 3-year contract again, just saying getting Alan, letting him have a rest and getting ready for dust himself down for Wednesday?
Well, I think that's good to see. I'm pleased that the boy McCrory is happy to stay with us because, he might be a little bit frustrated that he hasn't made an impact yet this season. But as much as we love him, McGregor isn't just going to go on and on, although what we saw on Tuesday, maybe he has got a few more years in him. But, McCrory can be a big part of this club. And, we don't know for sure McLaughlin is the long-term solution. So it's good that we've got a group of goalkeepers there that we can rely on if we need to change it up. And I know he's not played much for us Ox in the first team, but I still hark back to last season in that game against Alishkirk and Celtic.
Never lost a goal, mate. Never lost a goal.
He was safe in both those matches. And my goodness, that was a pretty damn big baptism of fire in terms of expectation, wasn't it? It wasn't, no game is small, but a qualifier and an Old Firm game, that's pretty big. So I'm pleased he signed on. It's given us that opportunity to give him more opportunities down the road, and it might not come for a while. I know it's a specialised position. You don't get that many chances when it comes to the goalkeeping slot, especially when McGregor's playing like he did on Tuesday.
Yeah, McGregor might need a bit of rest, David.
Oh God, aye. Well, I mean, everybody should have pop at him. Whether you think it's justified or no, a lot of times it was justified. But I'll tell you one thing, he put out some performance there and saved us for a real good doing. And as I said, there was no many of them on that park come off with cramp. The only three was the three sitting defenders and McGregor and all the boys and bears that were in there singing their heart out, because the rest didn't get cramp, I'll tell you that. And that's something that we always used to say. A manager always used to say, I can't ask for any more if you go out there and leave your lot out in that park. Even if you get beat, they leave your lot out there in the park. And a lot of that didn't happen against that mob, Liverpool.
Alex, what would your team be for Saturday, mate, if you were Giovanni Van Bronckhorst? Oh, the lost Alex. Oh. You with us, Alex? Must be fed up with us already, Steve, here.
Is he away?
I think I'm not sure. We might be away for a drink and some Maltesers. Some people do that, Juicy, during the show, you know.
Sounds good.
Fabulous. I love it.
Aye, good news about the boy McCrory. Protecting an asset. I've got to see many of them now. If John's not going to get his shot at number one going forward, well, the boys maybe due promotion, Stevie, if that makes any sense.
Of course, we've got to give the boy a trial, and we've got to try him at some point. I mean, it's just to say, he was flung in at that Old Firm game, and he done the business for us, let's be honest. You know, and that was I mean, you don't get any merry a hard game than that, flung in at an Old Firm game, you know, unexpectedly, right, you're playing on Saturday. Oh, the boy done all right. And I just think, you know, I don't like saying things on air, but I think McLaughlin's kind of maybe had his chance now. You know, Theo Snelders comes to mind here. You know, I just think the boys shattered their confidence. I really do. I mean, what he done at Parkhead for me was just totally unforgivable, passing the ball right out to him. No, just come on, he's better than that. I don't know how you go about getting him, building his confidence back up and getting him back in there again. I just don't know. But the boy McCrory must be saying to himself, man, I want in here, I want again. He's done all right when he has come on, that's all I'm going to say.
Stevie, you're talking about Theo Snelders there.
Aye.
Did he work in Iceland?
Iceland?
I'm sure I've seen him working on a counter in Iceland.
Stephen doesn't shoplift in Iceland.
Waitrose. Loyalty card for Waitrose. Listen, I'm talking about Theo Snelders when he absolutely crapped himself. He's playing for the international team, and he froze. The boy froze, but he was a great keeper, but he just froze, and I don't think he ever recovered.
Aye, so listen, congratulations, Robbie McCrory. His brother will still rib him, I suppose. You say he played in goal before him, never lost a goal.
Exactly.
Cast your mind back. We thought he was the answer, didn't we? And we thought the ginger heated boy that went to Hamburg, would we call him again? Bates. He did a great game at Park. The boy Bates came against Celtic at Park.
I can't believe you couldn't remember his name, young Master Bates. Anyway.
That's a yellow card, by the way. That's a yellow card.
Oh, was that young man coming into the team? I don't think he was a mister. I don't think he was a mister.
Good.
Davey, you've been cut off for less, mate, so you have no share in your Maltesers.
I've had a couple of straight reds.
That's because you never took your medication.
What could hear was Fox clicking me off.
Where's the Fox? Who were we talking about there? What was the player?
Theo Snelders.
Oh, but after that.
Bates.
Talking about that. Master Bates. Talking about that, we'll be joined by Alex Kelly. How you doing, Alex?
Oh, that's bad. That's two yellows.
Good evening, boys.
Two yellows.
That's terrible. That's terrible, Oxford. Rangers for everyone, anyone.
How you doing?
Simon could have been any better, Alex.
I blame Fox for setting that up.
Oh, trust me, Fox had nothing to do with it.
Well, listen, I admire Big Stevie's defiance there. You know, we're all hurting. You know, we just want our team to do well. But I made the trip down on Tuesday there with Kenny and a few boys for Blantyre Stonefield Tavern. So just watched it in the pub and just staying in the atmosphere. But it was frustrating to watch, and I feel for everybody that attended the match. But it's credit to your support that we still back them in numbers the way they did. But that's the kind of support there. But I thought Alan McGregor was absolutely outstanding.
Credit. Man of the match, mate.
He was. And by the way, if we've stumbled on anything here, I think we've got to go with this back three. That seems to be where we could get something, particularly domestically going forward. If our service for our strikers comes for our fullback.
Does it at the moment, Alex? Does it now?
I know, but it's a different opposition you're playing domestically, isn't it? So you should get more of the ball, certainly. So if it's Yilmaz or Borna or Tavernier, that's historically in the last few years as well, a service game. But we've got to push more up the park.
No, my problem with three at the back, mate. My problem with three at the back is I've always said to Bridge, 3-5-2 can quite easily become 5. You've seen that with Tav and Borna. That might have been deliberate. If you have the two defensive midfielders like Price covering them, you end up with 7 defenders, the goalkeeper.
Yep.
And you have 4 players trying to cover the rest of the park. 3 players trying to cover the rest of the park. Exactly what happened to us on Tuesday night, mate. That's always been my trouble with 3 at the back.
I get that. You can be forced to camp in, but to be honest, if you look back at the PSV game away from home there, Oxford, that's exactly what happened. But we made it difficult for the opposition to break through. It's no pretty on the eye, but at least we had a goal to defend. Currently, we're barely getting in the opposition half now. But that's down to more how good the opposition is. You know, I mean, they're Napoli taking 6 off Ajax. You know, it's different levels. I don't know if you can maybe look at what the teams have actually paid for their squads. I seen something the other day that the starting 11 for Liverpool was 340 odd million, where we'd paid about 16.5 million. Difference. You know,
I read an interesting stat about PSV's front 3, Stevie.
Right.
The 3 of them earn between them a week 4 million quid.
Yep. A week?
Mm-hmm.
Dear me. Oh, David, what do we think of that?
By the way, Big Haaland, £900,000 a week. He's on at Man City.
But he's on £1 million a goal and all.
he's near earning as much as a Bridge.
No, I'm only joking. Aye,
we don't need Haaland. We've got Big Kolak.
He's the best striker in the country at the moment. And we don't leave him on for 90 minutes. By the way, here's one for you then, Juicy. You can have a think about this as well, EK. Kolak, if he gets a couple of goals the first hour of the game, would you take him off or leave him on? Sometimes when I've took him off, I'd say, let him get a hat-trick. There's something mythical about a hat-trick, isn't there?
Now, over the years, our managers have had a tendency of taking players off who are on a hat-trick. You've seen it with Alpi before as well, and how frustrated he gets. But I guess you've got to look at the reality. We're playing 2 games a week, and with our horrendous injury situation and record, why did Alfie get injured in the first place? Because he was getting overplayed. It was a muscle injury. We were limited in our options anyway. When you've got Kamar Roof, who was made out of glass, it's difficult. So I'd much rather preserve a player, be happy with the 2 goals, provided other players can make a contribution as well. From our point of view, I'm not fussed. From the players' point of view, they're going to be frustrated for sure because they want that opportunity. They want those 3 goals. They want that hat-trick. They want to get in that FIFA Team of the Week.
Mm-hmm. Right, I get it. But his goals per minute must be excellent, AK, because he hasn't done many 90 minutes, has he?
Are we talking about Kovac here?
Aye.
Yeah. Aye. For some reason, Gio doesn't like to give him a full 90 minutes. Maybe he's trying to protect him. He doesn't want him injured. Maybe he's maybe running out of steam. He certainly doesn't look like it. He should be fit enough for the age that he is. But I don't know. I just think this year's one of the years where it's no happening for us in Europe. And if you look back at last year's group as well, even though it was the Europa League, where did we start with? A 1-0 defeat away to Prague, wasn't it? And then was it a draw at Brøndby? And we managed to get a draw at Lyon as well, but thankfully we'd already qualified for it. So we've no got great.
We lost for first 2 games, mate. We lost to Lyon and Ibrox 2-0. They'd absolutely annihilated us.
I'm talking about the away games. I know that with 0 points after the first 2 games, but I think we went to Brøndby and we got a draw, and then we beat Brøndby at Ibrox, and that was and then Prague, I think, was Gio's first game where we got a win there again. We've got the way he sets up the team, it's 2-legged affairs is where he kind of thrives on, and he keeps us in the game. And you said there last night we got a battering at Prague, with taking a battering at Leipzig, but we kept in the game, and then we managed to overturn the Ibrox. You can't do that in this league setup because there's points available every game, and you've got to go out there and set up to at least win a point every game.
Well, listen, I think there's times that you maybe play and you've got the flexibility and be sensible. I think the problem was it didn't matter what the shape was or what the setup was, Stevie. We didn't do the basics, so you're always going to be in trouble. It doesn't matter if you get 3 at the back, 4 at the back, 6 at the back. If you don't pass the ball, if you pass it away and get it away cheaply, you're always going to struggle.
Aye, you're up a level, aren't you? Champions League's the top level, and if you make mistakes, you're getting punished. But again, if we set up defensively, how long are we going to last against Liverpool, who have got Salah quality? They've got the big boy Núñez, who scored against us when he was at Benfica. They've got tons. You could go on about their players, even the ones they bring off the bench. Or he was 80 million, he was 70 million. It's top class. Napoli, they ripped Ajax apart. We thought we held them for an hour, and then the game changed when a man gets sent off. We were doing fine with them. And then they get the 3 penalty kicks in 10 minutes. It changed the game. Look at Ajax. Look what they've done to Ajax. It's a step up, top quality. And if you make mistakes, if you can't pass the ball 10 yards, and you can't teach anybody that. I mean, it doesn't matter much it costs. I heard the conversation last night. Players got to pass a ball 10 yards. It doesn't matter how much it costs. If you can't do that, they're either they're just off the boil, they're totally wrecked their confidence. If they can't pass the ball 10 yards, they should have won the part in the first place. But if you make mistakes against the opposition, you're playing Napoli, Liverpool, etc., you're going to get McGregor was totally outstanding, man. Alan McGregor's a bear. What he is, but my God, he's kept us in more games and he's you know what I mean? So fair play to him. But see this Tuesday night, guys, I can't emphasise that enough. 50,000 bells will be assembled. Let's just get the sleeves rolled up, get the battle hymns belting out there, man, and let's get tore right into this Liverpool mob. Let's let them see what we're really about.
We'll have to, before we get that, mate, we'll get a big game at Ibrox because all these league games are big, juicy.
Leader Martel, one game at a time.
It's a massive game, Ox, isn't it? And, let's not worry about Liverpool.
Playing against the greatest team the world's ever seen, mate.
They are the greatest, and we've got to take them down, and we've got to prove that we can be up for the challenge of beating the greatest team in the world. And I think we can do it, guys. It's a home game. I'd be quite happy, as Stevie said, to play Alfie on the right, but I would really love to see Fashion and Matondo get a chance together alongside Cholak. The three of them proved they were hungry when all three came on towards the end of that Liverpool game. Give them the opportunity, guys. What do you think?
Well, with the opposition we're playing on Saturday, I think I'd play 7 defenders, Kate?
I think we've got to be positive. Whatever team we go. We've
That's
got
a new thing for you, isn't it?
I'm changing my outlook on it. I just see, listen, there's an opportunity here, and I've said that. Come on, give us a wee bit of credit. I've said that if we don't have a good European run here, we've got a chance here to win a domestic silverware. You know, domestic treble. You can't understate that enough. The winning mentality puts in the players' minds, and we've not won enough domestically. And a lot of these big games is the reason why we fall, because we don't have enough players out there. That McGregor's outstanding because he knows what it means to the club, for having the support. The rest of the guys run about him, whether we like it or whether we don't, but we're still playing guys that was there when Gerrard was there, 4, 5, 7 years ago, still playing guys like that. And we've not had great success in that time that they've been there, so you can't understate that enough. Silverware, domestic silverware is what we want.
Success is relevant, mate. 10 years ago, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, I can't remember. We get beat with Stirling Albion in the league, mate. Success.
I know we did, but we've had chances to win silverware against Hibs and get beat against Celtic and get beat in the League Cup final. It's big games like that.
We should have won. We should have won both the games.
Aye, but by the way, the players carry mental baggage into the big games, and it's no coincidence that they keep folding in the big stage when the pressure's on. There's that mental baggage that they guys carry on. The teams of old, team is full of leaders all around about the park. They just weren't looking at a captain. They were looking at your defence.
Name me a team then. Name me a team, and I'll tell you a team. That team when they got a bad result. Go on then.
Oh, listen, you go back, my era in Big Stevie's era in 92, under Walter. And by the way, they did have a great run in Europe, but Walter had poor results in Europe as well. I'm not saying they were unstoppable or that.
So you're talking about the 92, 93 team, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, but how did they go on? How did they go on in their Champions League qualifier, 93, 94 season?
I know. They get beat the following season, didn't they?
First round, yeah. Countess. Yeah, right, carry on. Give me another team. I'll shoot you down again.
Listen, I know there's failings in the teams over the years, but...
Go on, give me another team.
No, I'm not setting you up. You're not taking the water out of me that way.
Give me another team and I'll give you a bad result of a jet.
No, when you go.
I think we all get what you're saying. Come on now, I'm wearing my United Nations hat. You're all David Stoke eating these milk teasers. Alec, we all get the point that we need to start getting the winning mentality back. Listen, we get what you're saying, but Ops is right too. Even all the teams that were winning 9 in a row and trebles and everything else that went, we more or less got to the semi-final of the European Cup in 92, didn't we? All these teams, they were all winning teams, but they also all had bad results. They also lost in finals to Hearts, etc. at Parkhead. Remember that? Walter's last game. So they all did lose cup finals and they all did get bad results, the same as this team now. We just look, as fans, the bar's set last year in Europe, wasn't it? And we all think we're just getting nothing today now, bar going apart Europe and win. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't. And sometimes we've got to remember, we've got to step back and remember the level of the opposition we're playing sometimes. How can we compete with countries that's getting £100 million for getting relegated, a dropout fee, £100 million? Or even getting relegated for the first division into Premier League? How can we compete with the players and stuff like that? There's certain things, I get what you're talking about domestically, Alec, but I'm just talking about, we've got to be realistic sometimes. Rangers could get to the 3 cup finals this year. It doesn't mean we've got to win the 3 cup finals, Alec. We've still got the right to go in that park. We've got to do what we expect our Rangers team to do, is fight and win every game, but it's not got to happen all the time. We've got to be realistic.
Listen, I know that, and I agree with you. I mean, I've been telling Andy all day, come on, get things into perspective. Liverpool finished runner-up in the league last year, and they earned £150 million. We're, winning the Scottish Premier League last season, and they're earning £3 million. I posed a question to Oxchair last year. Finances and money have ruined the competition in Europe because clubs for Scotland cannot compete at this level anymore. That's the bottom line there.
£4 million the front three of PSG earn a week. £4 million. Alex, but what I will tell you is there's still no excuse for some of the performance, not the result, the performance of some of the individuals on Tuesday because they didn't do the basics.
Totally agree with you. And they're getting paid well enough.
Some of the players in games have been outstanding for us. If you think back to the Leipzig game at Ibrox, the driving John Lundstrom and James Tavernier. Just think of that one game a few months ago, Old Davy, and the performance they boys put on that night compared to the performance they put on Tuesday. And that's maybe the problem they've got. They've set the bar high for themselves. Juicy?
Of course it is.
They have set a high bar, but that's what we expect at this football club.
Yes,
and
rightly so.
If we're going to lose a game, I've got no problem with us losing a game, provided we put in an appropriate amount of effort to do our best and win the game. And I did say earlier that, as Stevie did as well, and as you did, and as others have said, we've got to appreciate the level of the opposition in this Champions League. But I was fine with us playing 5 at the back, but after 7 minutes, we were 1 down. So playing 5 at the back from that point on, as far as I was concerned, was kind of immaterial because, we could potentially go out and lose by a bigger margin if we tried to take it to them. I don't know because we never tried it for the last 15 minutes. So, when the game plan has not worked out after 7 minutes, surely you've got to make a change. We see this when teams come to Ibrox. They play their whole team behind the ball. They go 1 down. They don't always necessarily change it too much. But, they know their chances are really limited. But this is a one-off game in the Champions League.
I think the game plan was maybe to get to 70 minutes, mate. And then the penalty changed that, and then they would have went for it. Then 1-0 each, or 1-0 down, then they'd have went for it. I think that's what the game plan was. And that's why it was horrible for us to try and watch. But none of that game plan, shape, selection, excuses, Davey, the fact that we didn't do the basics right. It doesn't matter if you're £1,000 a week pro or £100,000 a week pro, you still should be able to do the basics.
You're 100% right. You made a comment the other night there and you were spot on. And I'm not keep nitpicking at Ken, but he passed a ball to Barisic, a boys' football pass, and he passed it out the park. And that wasn't just him. And I love Steve Davis. I love them all. You've got to love them all when you're running the troops. And Steve Davis and Tavernier, they all done that. And that was just... I couldn't get my head around that because they're experienced football players. And that's when it needed changed. And it never changed it. He's going to change it on Saturday. Tell you that. He's going to change it.
But what I will say is, if you think back this calendar year, Alex, Braga, we were absolutely appalling, and then we put the boot at Ibrox. You never know.
Absolutely, I know it's frustrating to watch. As I say, listen, perspective and levels, 100% agree with you. As I say, the bigger clubs or the clubs for the bigger leagues is certainly the gap's getting wider and wider. And it's. We can't compete, but we can make it hard for ourselves and we can put in a bit of effort and what have you, but that's no good enough for our support. Our support been brought up on trying to win every single game, and it is hard to watch when we're no, even troubling the opposition. Is that down to Gio? Is that down to the selection, his formation, his tactics? Is it down to the players? Is it down to the board that he didn't go out and get him the players that he wanted for certain positions. I think it's a collective kind of effort where we're kind of failing, but it's a bigger scale. We're going up now. As Stevie said, that these teams punish you. You give them half a chance, and they're getting punished. There, we beat Leipzig last year. They went out there and bought the likes of Timo Werner for Chelsea. Spent whatever it is, 40-50 million on him. The big clubs can afford to go out and do that, and I'm afraid that's the realistic level where we are. But we should concentrate now on domestic football and gain their support. Some hope of going out there and lasting the season and hopefully adding silverware, and then we go again, and then we reevaluate. We've got to have Edmondson House built by that time, which is going to give us extra income. We're going to have the Sky Lounges, and that's going to give us the corporate income with that. We've got to find money for elsewhere, because the money that we're getting out the Scottish League and the TV deals and the Sins, it's pennies, and that's why James Bisgrove and that are basically looking elsewhere to try and generate different money. The board were happy. John Bennett says the board were happy with the where we've came from in the last few years, and financially, yeah, but from a supporter's point of view, 2 trophies out of 6-7 years, that's not good enough for our support.
You bet that drum. Think where we were in 2016, mate. Think where we were 6 years ago. Warburton had just come in, yeah. We were in the Championship, mate. We got promoted. We had Nico Cranchar, who was done. Joey Barton, done. We had problems after part. The glue never started gelling to the guy for Liverpool walked in the door with a plan aligned with so many other people and started driving his own. Yeah. And we were miles behind. We couldn't get any cup tie in Scotland before he came in the door, Stevie. With any confidence, could we?
No, not really, no. I mean, listen, Alec mentioned it earlier on about a cup final against Celtic. I'm going to tell you something, by the way. I watched my boy. We went to Hampden that day and we pounded them into the ground. Pounded them. The missed penalty kicks and everything. Brian Jack crashed the bar. I can remember it. And my boy, I can remember looking at my boy and going out to Hampden, and Jamba was saying to me, Dad, you ever going to beat them? And he was totally deflated, man. And I've never felt like that coming out of Grun. I'm telling a lie. I felt like at the Europa Cup League final there, I watched Rangers fans come out of that stadium that night, and all you could hear was marching feet. You couldn't hear any bells talk at all. We're all deflated. But that game there reminds me of it. And that's what he says, Marlene said to me. And it was all about the team. We're just starting to get things right. We all thought that this is it. We're starting to get things right. And maybe that's what we needed to happen that night. I know that sounds silly because 3 of them were offside and they got the goal, but maybe that kind of drove us even more, put even more a bit of taste into Marmouth and into the Rangers board's mouth, and went, right, we hit the bar, we're so close there, we're nearly there, let's keep going. But I'm telling you, Alec, Oxy's right. You keep mentioning all these trophies and Berber. Listen, we just need to get the gap. We totally get. I get what you're saying. It doesn't matter if it's a League Cup. It's a cup that we've won, and it breeds a wee bit of winning mentality. I get what you're saying, but I mean, financial point of view, and the board, would you rather win the League Cup or get to the Europa Cup League final? And I think there's the argument there because of the money it brings, But I get what we all get what we're saying, and we keep going over this.
Stevie.
The cups, yeah.
Right. Okay, I take that on board, right? The problem for me then is we've still got far too many players that we were relying on 4 or 5 years ago, and we've no refreshed the team.
That's a different argument, Alex. That's a different argument, yeah.
You're totally right. You're totally right, Alex. I agree with you. But we're getting contracts out to Davis, McGregor, guys like that. Thank God we kept McGregor on his name because he's done his turn. He's done all right. But the other ones will just hunt it out to say, right, we're keeping the experience. No time for sentiment. We've got to move on. we've got to get rid of some of these players.
It's a hard call. It's a hard call, mate. If you're involved with a club and you've got an experienced pro, and I know I'll go to old Davey because he knows all about all the experienced pros, right? So, if you've got
as much as Fox,
don't encourage him. Don't encourage him.
Your minds are terrible. If you've got somebody who you can rely on or you trust, and he's at the end of his career, and you're going to give him a year extension, you think he's relatively fit, and you're going to see give him $8,000 a week. And I'm just using that as a figure because I don't know what people's wages are, and neither I should. I don't know what Bridges earns, so I don't know what anybody else earns, right? So you say, right, we'll give him an odd year. There's no loss to it because it's going to cost us $400,000, right? How do I replace that guy? Do I bring in somebody at 33 who's a bit younger? See Stephen Davis. We don't know how he's going to fit in. You want a signing-on fee. You might want $12,000 a week. So that's a hard call to make. And it's all these things are only in hindsight. Would I have gave McGregor, Stephen Davis and Arfield contracts? Maybe no. But so far, collectively, they're not been the worst three players this season, bizarrely.
But where we've let ourselves down, Ox, is, apart from agree with what you're saying, and I disagree with the recruitment side has been farcical.
Awful.
The recruitment side has been farcical. Now, we're talking about, we're changing, we're sort of going into a transition period. Now, if you look at all the players that were signed there, they're nearly all signed by Gerrard. And I still say that guy's not even brought who he wants in. And if it's a fact, if it's a true fact that somebody else is bringing him in, we can't get onto Gio's tail for that. Because you can only play with the cards he's got.
I think the point that Alex is making is a lot of these players were Gerrard's initial. The team's no changed that much in maybe the last 4 or 5 transfer windows, really. I think that's the point they're trying to make, KK.
The mentality's not changed that. Huh?
No, you're right as well, Steve. No, absolutely. You've got to refresh, different mindsets. They'll give us good service and they'll get us to a limit. But maybe that was Tav's limit last year. That was, you can't get any better than, but maybe he'll regress now. The same as Kent, the same as Kamara, the same as Morelos. So you've got to keep things fresh. And this is what
players need a change in all, Alex,
Absolutely, to keep the focus. For me, it looks as if Lundstrom's running on dry. I think he's been carrying an injury as well, and he's played him too much. Well, that's an opportunity now to surely get Sands in there or young McCann in there and give a different motivation to that player. You never know, it could rub off Mervyn about him. It's screaming out for a Lowry now. Last year, he held Lowry back that he played Diallo in front of him. No, unfortunately, it was a stadium, and I didn't expect to see him at all this year. But it's unfortunate on the boy, because for me, the team's screaming out for a young Lowry there now. But listen, it's maybe an opportunity for Matondo or Sakala that to, or even Scott Wright. He's kind of disappeared again. I don't know. We're kind of clutching at straws. Gio's looking at the bench now, and he doesn't fancy what he sees.
Aye, well, listen, I get the recruitment, but if we're going to criticise the recruitment, I'll take this to Juicy, right? We're going to criticise the recruitment, and we have done, and rightly so, we've listed some of the players. But you've got to give credit as well when we're unearthing Cholak and saying, right, he value for cash so far, he looks like a top finisher, doesn't he?
We paid $1.8 million for him, guys. He's been absolutely superb. That aside, yes, we can criticise a lot of what Ross Wilson and the rest of his team have been doing, because it's been difficult, to say the least. Okay, there's been some injuries as well. However, aside from Lawrence getting injured this season, I think a lot of us have got a lot of reservations, Ox, about bringing in the likes of Suter as an injured player. Okay, he played in, I presume he got injured in the cup final, but even prior to that, he had a poor injury record for Hearts. So, signing a player who has a bit of a sick note reputation isn't great. When we need these players to play. Yilmaz, I don't want to say anything on that because, in fairness to the Yilmaz situation, Borna has upped his game since Yilmaz has signed for us. That doesn't mean that we don't want Yilmaz to get an opportunity. He will. As I said earlier, we've still got a shed load of games to play this season. There'll be plenty of opportunity for Yilmaz. But on that one, we must acknowledge the fact that Borna has improved since Yilmaz has come to the club. And that's what you want to see. You want to see these players, putting each other under pressure to perform. Ben Davis, some family problems, some injury problems. He's now finally in the side. And I think he can do things. And I was pleased with him the other day. So I think it is moving in the right direction, but it's moving quite slowly. And coupled with that...
The Ben Davis one made it simple. Square peg, square hole. What a difference.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Stevie?
Can I just say, I don't want to get a gaff what you're talking about. Ben Davis, he does, he's had a couple of games now and he does look as if he's going to come good. Let's just keep our fingers and toes crossed there. But can I just get back, see one of the things that really got ripped man that now? Now I wanted big Connor Golson to stay at Rangers, but 4-year contract. Who came up with that? You know what I mean? That's just nuts, isn't it? That's just absolutely nuts. Getting a guy 4 year.
I thought Connor Golson had been poor up to the break. The last 2 games, he's been my best outfield player. Over the last 2 games.
Is that a sign? Well, you think back to when he had big Katic next to him, and then Hollander came in, and seemed to settle him down. Is that because, as you say, round pegs, round holes? He's far more comfortable. He doesn't need to worry about the player next to him. He just needs to concentrate on his own job.
I think that's an easy fix, but it makes sense as well, Alex, what you're saying. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I think McGregor... Sorry, I think McGregor got in goals as well. I think Southside said last week what a difference it is to hear a goalkeeper organise and shout instructions, whereas McLaughlin was pretty quiet in goal. So I think they also gained confidence with the goalkeeper behind them, and you seen the reason why.
And by the way, to be fair in Giovanni, I think they all admitted at the end of the season it was a logical sense to maybe give John McLaughlin a shot at number 1, Davey.
That was the obvious choice. The guys, but yeah, look at his show he put on the other night. You didn't see that coming, did we? So that's proved the point of where he keeping him on. But McLaughlin, as you said, everybody would have said you've got to start him. But that's not worked out. I like to get back on a point that I brought up about Sands. That boy is definitely a grafter. And if we need anything in the middle of that park, he should be in there on Saturday. And that will definitely gear him up a bit.
I said it earlier.
What about his legs and pace being in there on Wednesday?
Sorry?
What about his legs and his pace being in there on Wednesday as well?
Exactly. That's why I would play him on Saturday. I'd get him match fit. He's no played, didn't he? No. Yep. So get him in there on Saturday. Give him a run out against St Mirren. The boy's a tackler. The boy's got energy. Play him in his right position. Get him in there on Saturday and see how the boy does, and then give you an idea if he can do it on Wednesday.
Are you telling me, Stevie? Yeah, are you telling me you put a square peg in a square hole?
100%.
That will never catch on, will it, Juicy?
No.
Excited fielder, Ox. Let's be honest. That's where he plays.
Exactly, mate. That's what I'm saying. It'll never catch on. Juicy.
It's no taking the bait.
You remember what we said earlier? Do the players ever listen to this show or the management? I hope that they are tonight, because There are some things that seem obvious. They certainly do to us anyway. Play these guys where they're supposed to be played. If you have to change it up sometimes, that's fine. Sometimes you've got to ask a player to do a job somewhere. That's a given, particularly when we've had so many injuries. But as things start to ease, give them that freedom of playing in their roles. And, I want to see Fashion start on that right, for example. I want to see Matondo start on the left. I want to see Tillman as a number 10. I want to see these guys.
Are you telling me putting square pegs in square holes?
Well, goodness, is it too much to ask?
Just asking, mate. Just asking.
Juicy, you're saying about the players listening. If there's anybody for the catering listening, will they make sure there's sauce up there for me Wednesday for my pie?
Curry pie.
It's always pies with him, Alex, isn't it? It's always pies.
Can I
He's
say
always
something here?
always trying his stomach.
Oh, can I just mention something? We're talking about players, right? Now, if you were a guy that just turned up at Ibrox and you went out to watch the Rangers, could you tell me, or could they tell you who the captain of that team is?
I think
Because,
so, mate.
You think so? Because he takes penalties. But, I mean, we've not got anybody that leads in that team and gets them going and gets on their case. Jack does it, but he gets injured. But we lack that. We need something more of that. And Ian Ferguson get right into him.
Oh, I love Fergie, mate. I think if you look at that boy Henderson that played against the team we played, he just does his job, and there's pushing. The game's changed. I mean, we'd all love Ferguson to be playing there on Wednesday night. Even now, I think we'd get him in the team if we could, Alex.
Well, Fergie was a battler, wasn't he? Oh, it was no surrender attitude with him. He didn't lie down to Nate, David.
I'm not sure if Fergie ever captained the club, but did he need an armband? Don't think he did.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. You're right, but that's what I said kind of earlier. With leaders round about that team, with Gorham and Goff and McCoist and Haitley, and nobody needed an armband. Nobody needed to tell each other. They all sorted things out in the dressing room before. I think Souness speaks about it. It was one of the time he was up in the stand. It was sorted by the time he got down to the dressing room because of the characters that he had in the team, and character's a big thing for a manager too. And this is where I go back to recruitment. Is Gio getting to pick these players? Because see if he isn't, it's no a good recipe going forward.
No, but the deal when he took the job, mate, he'll all know what the deal was when he took the job. I mean, I don't think the recruitment in the last two windies has been great. Big Cholak looks as if he's going to be the one, and obviously we were hopeful for Tom Lawrence, and the boy Tillman started well. I think we're finding out he's only a boy learning his trade. Had a good start for us. Unfortunately, with Tom Lawrence, Stevie, the curse strikes again. He's going to be out for a few months.
Yeah, and he's the guy that was making things happen for us. He was absolutely looking brilliant, man. So he was. He scored a couple of good goals and all. And then, lo and behold, injured again, Look, again, we could talk to him blue in the face. As a supporter, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. Davies got an argument there when he talks about the captain. We don't know again, Davy, what goes on behind closed doors. We really don't. Do the players look up to Tav? I think they do. Do we think he's a captain? Does the biggest majority of Rangers fan base think he's a captain at go every week? Probably no. That's just the whispers and what I think. But the bottom line is, for me, I keep trying to be positive all the time. I keep trying to keep things rolling and moving out. I don't want to say ticking out. I don't like it with ticking it. So we keep trying to move forward. And the bottom line for me is, as a fan, spend your money, put it into the club, go and support the team whenever you can. If you can't afford it, get to the nearest pub and support your local pub and make sure it's Blue Noses that get your money. And that's just how I'm are, and I think that's how Maestys are. But guys, let's just get behind the Bears, man. Let's get behind Gio. Let's get behind Tav and Kent. Try and pick a wee Kent fella up. We know how great a player he can be, and that's why we're all disappointed. When we pull when you pull that badger, that shirt out your head, I want you to fight and die for it. I want you to fight and die. I want the same level of commitment as the fans show the team, and I want the team to give them it back. I want the team to give us it back.
All right, Isaac. You're all right, yeah.
You're butting them all in, have you?
Nearly. So have you, shortly. You're all right.
Stevie, do you want to be captain on Saturday?
Listen,
I'd play you on Saturday.
I'm telling you right now, by the way, David, they wouldn't be coming in. There'd be a few broken noses at half time. The physio would be
yeah, but that's the point I'm trying to make. I'm not having a point at one individual. I'm just pointing out that we need a captain who's going to grab them. And we don't just a captain, we need all that we used to have. That pass that the thing we had against Liverpool. See if that had been big ham and egg, it'd been on there. He'd have run up and got him by the throat and says, you better not do that again, sonny boy. But we don't do that. We've not got that aggression which we badly need.
The game's changed. Some for the good and some for the bad, mate. I'm afraid that's the problem you've got, you know. The game's changed. I mean, it's nearly became a non-contact sport in some regards, you know. But look, a lot of positives tonight. Do you see a lot of positives? I've not got a clue what the team's going to be on Saturday now. I'm more confused than I was before we started the show.
Well, I think he's got options, Oxshire, and that's good to see. I still think a part of him is just going to play exactly the same team because he'll just ask him to go again. But like a few of the guys have said, I would love to see Sands getting an opportunity in the midfield. Put him in there with Jack and Arfield. I think it'd be good to give Lundstrom a rest.
Who's going to make the chances if it's Sands, Jack and Arfield, mate?
Who's going to make the chances if it's Kamara, Lundstrom and Davis? So, you know, we're limited.
Touché.
I
get my chest here.
I mean, look, you know, it was a while ago, Oxshire, but when we played West Ham, Sands started the movement through those goals, as I recall, and he was playing in midfield for that, wasn't he? I don't think he was the centre back, but he looked good in that game, and he was playing more creatively. So let's put him in that role and give him a chance. And if he does play Tillman, please play him as a number 10.
Square pegs and square holes. Never catch on, music. Never catch on. Last word. I think we're near the last word for you, AK. By the way, just to let you know, Alex, not long to David's birthday, we'll need to have a chip in, right?
I'll save up the now. It's only a couple of weeks to mine, but I'll pass on the Maltesers to you, David. Anyway, thanks for taking my call, boys. Enjoyed it as usual.
Good points, well made, Alex. Good points, well made, mate. Thanks a lot, bro.
Thanks, pal.
Oh, David.
Terrific. So always it's the best show in town. And everybody gets to say their bit, and they all make sense. The only thing we want is the best for the Gers, and that'll come. That will come because we're heading. I think we're heading in the right direction. It'll just stay a wee bit more, get injury free. But marvellous show. Thanks for taking my call.
Just to let you know, Fox is saying you're on a yellow card for some of your behaviour tonight. All right.
For what? For what? Say that again.
Don't shoot the messenger, please.
I'm on a yellow card for what?
Some of your behaviour.
My behaviour? Maybe last night, not tonight.
Juicy.
Big opportunity to put more points on the board at the weekend. Let's not give away any penalties. That'd be nice if we can get through a match without doing that for a change. Change the lineup. put some, refresh it if he needs to. Let's get some excitement back in the team, and let's smash these St Mirren wannabes.
Big Stevie, Gramps, El Papa.
Drop El Papa, but come on now. Now listen, I'm just pleading to Gio. Please play Sands, the right side of midfield. Give the boy a shot, bit of energy, bit of tackling, a bit of guiles, what we need in the midfield, and a bit of quick thinking. Juicy said the boy could pass a ball and all. Please, Gio, do that, and I'll be all the moon. I really will. I want to see if the boy can. If he does that Saturday, man, Wednesday, fling him in there and let him go ahead. Well done to Juicy for being my wingman tonight, and thanks, Ox, for letting me on. And all Davey's right. It's the best show in town. We all get to say we're back. And well done, Alec Kelly, by the way. I can't wait to listen to the show back to hear the Master Bates bit coming in. That was fantastic, man.
Timing could have been better, could it?
Oh, no.
Hey, right, Captain Pugwash.
Brilliant, Alec.
Yeah, me mate for Leeds, Tom the cabin boy. Anyway, right, thanks very much, Big Stevie. Thanks to everybody. Thanks, Stevie. Thanks, Juicy. Thanks, Alex, who phoned in earlier on tonight, and our Alex Kelly, old Davey, and the boys in the background who make the show work, Fox and Old School Blue, who keep the show alive. Thanks to everybody listening. We'll be back tomorrow night. Big Southside will be with us, Jaffa and our Billy. Take it away, Old School Blue.